Unit 3, Day 20 notes. This is part 3. So what we're going to do on these next couple examples here, we will now use the quotient rule to derive the derivative formulas for the remaining trig functions. So rewrite each function in terms of sine and or cosine and differentiate using the cosine rule. So first, let's quickly review what we know. First thing is that the derivative with respect to x of sine of x equals cosine of x, and the derivative with respect to x of cosine x equals negative sine x. Remember back that tangent is sine over cosine, and cotangent is cosine over sine, and cosecant is 1 over sine, and secant is 1 over cosine. So let's use those to help us with these problems. So what do I know? I know tangent is sine over cosine, so let's take the derivative using the quotient. So Hody high, that's cosine times the derivative of sine, which is cosine times cosine, and then minus Heidi ho, so that's the numerator sine times the derivative of the denominator, which is derivative of cosine is negative sine. So let's rewrite this. And we get cosine squared plus sine squared all over cosine squared. We know cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1. So we get 1 over cosine squared, and we know the reciprocal of sine squared is secant squared. So what do we end up with? We end up with, hey, the derivative with respect to theta of tangent theta equals secant squared theta. So just like we had to memorize that the derivative of sine is cosine and the derivative of cosine is negative sine, now we have to memorize that the derivative of the tangent is secant squared. So let's do out the next 3. You can try them first, same exact way. I'll write them out and we can double check. So we go through, follow the quotient rule. We get negative sine squared minus cosine squared. So you factor out a negative 1, then it's negative 1 times sine squared plus cosine squared. So it becomes negative 1 up there. Over sine squared, that's negative cosecant squared. So the derivative with respect to theta of cotangent theta equals negative cosecant squared. So we go through, follow the quotient rule, and we find out that the derivative is equal to 1 over cosine times sine over cosine. That is secant times tangent. So the derivative with respect to theta of secant theta is equal to secant theta tangent theta. Okay, and let's do the last one. Take the derivative of cosecant. So we get it down to negative cosine theta over sine theta times 1 over sine theta. That's negative cotangent theta times cosecant theta. So the derivative with respect to theta of cosecant theta is equal to negative cotangent theta times cosecant theta. So with what we already knew about the derivative of sine and cosine and what we just learned about the other 4 trig functions, derivative of tangent equals secant squared, derivative of cotangent is negative cosecant squared, derivative of secant is secant times tangent, and derivative of cosecant is negative cotangent times cosecant. Okay, let's move on to the next problems. Actually, let's have this be the end of this part, and then new part will go on to the next problems.